Hello, and welcome back to a new episode of Factorio. And today's episode is a little bit special because I actually accidentally forgot to turn on my microphone. So, yeah, that's why we have actually post commentary. That's a bit weird. And the other small thing that, since it's already a post commentary, the one thing I've changed is the fact that the footage is being played back at 150% speed. So we are just a bit moving forward, like a bit faster than usually, but not by a lot. So the goal is kind of to still talk about the footage on screen. And yeah, so as you guys have seen right now, actually in the beginning, there were a few changes to the end of the previous episode, and I've placed down rail signals and chests for the train station, and we have now three, and named the train stations all copper home copper, sorry. And with that, once a train is coming in, or even multiple trains, he's going to take one of these three stations depending on which one is available. So if we can have up to three trains being here at the same time and unloading their cargo. And speaking of unloading the cargo, we're using the stack inserters to take out the cargo from the cargo wagon into those intermediate chests, and then the blue fast inserters to put them on the transport belts, which will be added in just a second. There you go. So like I actually touched upon in the previous episode, the stack inserters have a bonus. Well, they take multiple items at the same time from one container into the next one, in that case the cargo wagon into the chest. So that's why using those stack inserters around trains is very useful. Now, since the inserters, the regular fast inserters, are deploying their items, in that case the iron ore, onto the far side of the belt, we use those transport belts, as you can see here, that go underneath to balance that out. In this case, or for that matter, both sides of the transport belt will be filled. So that also helps out with throughput in general, to increase the amount of throughput we have, and makes it a bit more fluid and trying to have more items. So as you just saw there, we picked logistics systems for our next research. Reason behind it, rather simple. Apart from the fact that I forgot in the previous episode that we actually wanted to go for logistics, is because, well, logistics systems is very important and a lot of fun with the Skynet network that we are kind of started in the previous 2 episodes ago, actually, right now. So yeah, and there you just taught me setting up the train station. So the copper outpost 1, copper 1, and copper home selected in the train menu, and now the train will go up and down between the copper outpost and the copper home station. So with that, we get the copper train running, and here it comes, turns around and lands. Not quite, it's not KSP. Stops, there you go, stops at the train station on the far left side. So now we have the copper ore flowing into one of the transport belts. Now we're just going to combine all of these 3 incoming transport lanes into one, which will feed into the already pre-existing copper line just a bit further up there. Speaking of this transport belt line, I actually think in the not too distant future, like 5 episodes, I don't know, we're right now at episode 20, so yeah, that's like a quarter of the time, maybe not that, maybe still some time away, but in a couple of episodes we'll probably have to redo this because of the throughput of copper ore. Will probably have too much ore for only one lane of red and at some point probably blue belts. So the tier 3 belts, there are only 3 tiers, so the max tier belts probably still won't be enough, so might actually do for a second loop that will feed into another set of furnaces at a later date. And here we're going to select a input priority in this splitter, and that means that the copper ore which is being produced in the copper ore farm, kind of where we previously already got all of our copper, and only if that is not enough copper ore to feed our furnaces, the copper from the train station will be used, and that ensures that we're going to deplete the copper field in our base first before having to do anything with the copper field of our outpost. And this way we also get the entire space that is now occupied by all of the copper mining drills to use for new smelting arrays, because well then there will be another smelting area just going to be expanded further down. And here we have a small warning that during an attack one of our gun turrets got destroyed, so going to hurry over there and replace the gun turret and improve the defenses as well. So of course the kind of weird thing now in the post commentary, I'm not that conscious of the inventory, even though we can see it quite a lot. I'm not like in the middle of doing things, and in my preview window through which I actually follow the footage is not full screen, which makes it even a bit more difficult to recognize, for example, the numbers. But it's just barely manageable. But still, so I might actually skip over, well not might, but I'm going to skip over most of those things. And yeah, it's probably weird a bit for you guys as well watching this in post commentary, and I really don't want to make this a habit. Like I said, I just forgot to turn on my microphone, and by the way, that was actually the case in the end of the previous episode as well. So the last, 30 seconds or something, there was no sound, well, no commentary, which is a shame. But anyways, now on to the electricity. We realized that we have some electricity shortage, so we went and upgraded here even more of our, well, upgraded our electricity network production of more steam engines. And by the way, you guys can see right now that the water is slightly greenish, or a lot greener compared to the blue water, which is further up north, and that is we have enough pollution to make the water change colors. There is no gameplay or any effect on anything apart from the visual effect, but I really think that's a cool thing. I'm kind of happy. I mean, that's an achievement. We are polluting the environment enough that the water is turning green. Beautiful. I mean, that shows how bad no, how far we are already with our pollution thingy, even though that's actually a bad thing. Really, pollution isn't good, but I kind of think that's really funny to have. So anyways, now we added another steam engine and one boiler, since the one boiler was not enough to feed 3 steam engines. Now with 2 boilers for 4 steam engines, that's a good improvement, but we still need more steam engines to satisfy our electricity consumption, which will only increase even further once we go for the iron outpost, which is actually as well one of the things that we have to do. So yeah, this is just an intermediate thing to solve the electricity issues, yeah. So, and now you can see me using this blueprint feature to count the number of steam engines, since I don't want to add too many steam engines for the boilers to follow along. Now you can see we have 21 steam engines, and that should be more or less good enough for the 10 boilers that I counted earlier. So yeah. And by the way, this is something I only realized right now in the post commentary. Our red science packs are looking very bad, so we should probably in the next session I should pay attention and have a look at the red science. But by the way, I can just see the issue right now. If you look to the slightly to the left hand side, we don't have enough copper plates. So already figured out the issue. Should do something about that. But anyways, this is then something for the next session. So yeah, I'm doing this post commentary almost immediately after this. I recorded this episode, so I know still pretty good what is going to happen. But still, it is really different and weird to do that kind of post commentary thingy. So here we can see our robot minions coming in again, beautifully replacing all the old transport belts for new red ones to increase the iron plate flow. Since all the upper green circuit, basic circuit assembling machines were idling around, and with that we increase the throughput of iron plates, but this will actually lead into general iron shortage, well, iron plate shortage. So that's also why we'll have to go for more iron in the next episode. But here you can see the copper issue that we had was because, well, the one change that we did, like I think 2 episodes ago or something, that we were feeding into the lane on the right hand side was then overwhelming the right hand copper lane, but there was not enough copper for the left lane, and now I decided to solve this issue with a splitter so that half of it goes one way and half of it goes the other way, so increasing the copper distribution a bit. That's good. And here you can see checking me on iron. So iron is looking not good enough, we need more ore, and with that we stop the initial idea, I think, of building electric smelters, since those are needed for the productivity science pack. But first, before doing the iron thing, we actually now utilize the second side of the stone wall lane, since we need, as you saw earlier in the recipe, maybe it was a bit too short, we need for electric furnaces red circuits, so advanced circuits, stone bricks and steel. So these are the tier 3 furnaces. However, their production speed is exactly the same as tier 2 furnaces. So that's why I'm not rushing into upgrading from tier 2 furnaces to tier 3 furnaces, since the speed at which things are produced is exactly the same. So yeah, only going from the stone furnaces to the steel furnaces is a very important change. Even though if you look at our smelting area, we still have quite a big number of stone furnaces, but we still have more than enough furnaces at the moment. Like I said, especially the iron ore is the issue at the moment. Let's have a look. We are at 12 minutes in. Okay. So now we should actually think about where we want to place the like I said, electric furnace thing, because this is necessary for the next science pack production. Okay, now I'm repeating myself, that's not good, that's kind of weird when you're not following along. The exact thought process we did was doing actual footage. Oh yeah, exactly, the roboport. We've built another roboport to increase our expand our logistics and construction network, and the goal of this one here down here is to move everything a bit towards the train stations, since at some point I want to automate the delivery of the fuel to the trains. But now we're going to expand towards the iron, towards those 2 big iron fields in the southern part, which we have targeted with our rail expansion. So here we take one rail and just move down and chop down some trees, and this is really a pain, chopping down some trees. So here we have our flamethrower. Well, why do we have a flamethrower? Exactly to burn things. So we're going to burn down this little wood here, this little forest, and try not to get burned ourselves there. So I used here to shift the planner, the ghost mode, in order to give me a sense of where we have to, what the exact location of the rails would be, so I can just continue building while the fire is getting rid of most of the trees in our way there. Now I'm going to use again one of those beautiful blueprints to smack down one of those roundabouts. However, we're going to use this roundabout not as I'm going to expand that exactly with those 4 directions, since I'm probably going to open up as far as I know, I'm going to open up the map a bit in just a bit, but we are so far in the southern portion of the map, and there's nothing close to this double iron field that is interesting for further expansions, so it is very likely that we're not going to continue our rail network from this roundabout in any meaningful way. Maybe one small outpost to the left or to the right, just really something really tiny. Oh, there we go. Now we have the map view, so you can see no new resource fields to our left or to our, well, to the west or to the east. So that's the only, this iron field is the only realistic or really interesting well, point of interest, and that's like literally the only real point of interest we have in this southern portion of the map. So probably going to focus on further expansions towards the west, northwest, and northeast, and maybe just generally north from our base towards those lakes. But anyways, so I decided to go for one single outpost, including both of the iron fields, since they're so close to each other. There is no point in making two different outposts, and that means as well we do the same thing for only one train station, since we can just connect the iron ore lines, which we're probably going to build in the next episode, into one train station. But speaking of train station, I'm actually was thinking during that and as well talking about that, but obviously you can't hear that since I didn't record it. I'm a douchebag, I know. That we probably going to add not one but two train stops, so that we will have the capability of using multiple trains, well, more than two trains to go to this outpost. Since, well, if we use two train stations, then we can use definitely more than two trains. Because in previous worlds I was comfortably using two train stations for one resource outpost if it was far enough, so that kind of during the transit time of a train, the second train would more or less arrive and be loaded up, and vice versa. So yes, but with that we're probably going to use more than just two trains, three trains at least, four trains, probably not. But this is something we'll find out in the, well, still some time, because at the moment, well, like I said, it's not done yet. We're not going to finish it, since the episode will actually end in, what is that, like 2 minutes, 1 minute, whatever. So we're going to construct a wall around the perimeter, since we've already used up all our ammunition to fill up those gun turrets. Since, as you can see on the minimap, one biter base is very close to us, so there's the biggest potential of attacks. But since we're not producing any pollution here just yet, there's no need for more turrets than just those turrets down there. And there you actually hear the timer, obviously a lot faster and a bit higher pitch, but yeah. So with that, I'm going to end the episode as well, thanks to that timer. So 20 minutes have passed, 26 minutes, but we're only in 18 minutes into the video, so that's the power of fast forwarding things. So in the next episode, like I said, we're going to continue with the iron outpost, since iron is the biggest issue we have here. Throughput, in terms of throughput, we don't get any iron plates into the red signs, or almost no iron plates into the red signs, and none into the green circuits. So yeah, I hope you still enjoyed this rather different kind of video, and until next time, Space Sheep signing out.